Welcome to PhD with Women on It, Hack the Future. My name is clearly not Beata Young. I'm Patrick L. Young. You may recall that I made one previous appearance in this wonderful show, presenting it when Beata was unwell. Today, I have to say Beata is good, but she has just had a monumental internet failure in Poland. I'm terribly sorry. I have therefore been invited to step into the breach. So today's positivity hack delivered PhD is going to be by our guest, Precious Williams. The topic is creating the perfect pitch with the pitch queen. Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen, 1 month out from the British coronation, but we've got royalty coming from the USA. The pitch queen herself, Precious Williams, is with us this evening. Now, let me remind you, this is, of course, a grassroots community. It focuses on women on IT. It's an inclusive forum for women in technology, startups, and female leaders. And they're supported by men, people like me. There I was feeding the puppies just a few minutes ago, and I've had to step into the breach. I'm delighted to be here. I'm really, really sorry that Beata can't be with you today, but I bring heart to that hustle because empathy is my mojo as well. And empathy is critical when you're creating a perfect pitch. Now, let's get to a few mentions of some of our incredible women around the Women on It community as created by Beata and her team. Naira Hashem. Naira, you'll remember, was making another starring appearance just last week in that epic PhD that we enjoyed that was celebrating the woman from Google, etc., last week. Naira Hashem and team won second place in a hackathon. The development space team were second in a hackathon organized by the International Monetary Fund, the IMF no less, held in Amman in Jordan. Wonderful news altogether, and congratulations, Naira. That's really, really epic. Caroline Tran won the Women Leading Tech Award 2023. Kudos to the co-founder of Hello Clever, Caroline Tan, on winning that Women Leading Tech Award in FinTech. Great to hear. And cheers to Women Power Career Congress, celebrating 20 years, my goodness, in the industry. 20 years in the modern digital age. It feels like 100 years. I think we're living through dog years in the digital world. Ladies, may you inspire women power and give more positive impact in the technology world. Now, let's get back to our topic today. And ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching, we'd love to hear from you. Ask us a question. Send us some love, please. I know it'll be hugely appreciated by all of us, including Beata, who's trying to watch at the moment in frustration from her internet bereft locale in Poland. Creating the perfect pitch with the pitch queen. If you're an entrepreneur or a startup founder, you know that creating a killer pitch is essential to your success. A great pitch can convince investors, customers, and partners to buy into your vision and can help you secure the funding and support you need to bring your idea to life. But crafting a pitch that is both compelling and effective can be a challenge, which is where the pitch queen comes in. The pitch queen, Precious L. Williams, is a 13-time U.S. national elevator pitch champion. My goodness, this woman, she spent so much time doing elevator pitches. She must have she's in danger of vertigo or the bends, but she's a champ 13 times. Her company, Perfect Pitches by Precious, teaches you the tools and tenacity to pitch with power, sell with storytelling, and develop a masterful mindset for communication. Precious is a dynamic international professional speaker, as we're about to see right now, effective corporate trainer, and 4 times best-selling author.
Oh, I'm sorry, 5 times as of yesterday. 5
times as of yesterday.
5 times.
Excellent. We're going to get to that in a minute. I want to know all about all of those 5 bestsellers. So, Precious, hello, greetings. Welcome to the show. Sorry about I couldn't make it. Where in the world are you today?
I'm actually in Midtown Manhattan, New York. And that is where I'm at right now at Luminary.
Fantastic. And tell us a little bit about Luminary. What's that?
So the Luminary it is an event space, a conference space, and also one of those workspaces that is primarily created for women to have their own space to be able to conduct business, grow their business, scale their businesses. And I've been a member for almost 4 years now, since 2019. And so offices here. I get to meet with such great women who are growing and scaling their businesses. And also with the Luminary, they have such partnerships with, Chase and Verizon, where they have scholars that are part of these programs that come in and actually have such a safe space to get their work done, to have live activities and live events. In fact, two of my books were debuted here. So it's a great space to be in. I want to give it up for Kate Luz space right now.
Fantastic. That's just wonderful altogether. So, okay, tell us then, number 5 best-selling book. What was it and when did it get to number 1?
Oh, you mean this is a shameless plug?
Go for it. We love shameless plugs.
So everyone, yes, I'm a 5-time number 1 best-selling author, and my book, Rainmaking 101 from Day One, debuted yesterday. And Rainmaking 101 from Day One is about packaging, positioning, and pitching secrets exposed. So most people don't know I'm a former attorney in the great state of New York. And when I went into the practice of law, it was just, I'm going to do great work. That's going to get me to higher and higher places. No, it doesn't. Rainmaking means creating a steady funnel of to the right events, having the right people know who you are and promote you out to their networks. And since I didn't know that as a law student or working at, different law firms, when I became a serial entrepreneur, I realized that was what was missing. A lot of us go into corporate America or into these spaces thinking our work will speak for itself. No, what speaks for itself is your ability to generate business, your ability to create your own clientele and customers. And so you think from that mode, from day one, you're already ahead of the game of people who've been there 4, 5, 6, 10 years. And so I want people to have the right mindset to play chess and not checkers and go from the worker bee mentality to the king or the queen bee mentality. They will always keep those who know how to generate business over those who just do great work.
Well, what an intro altogether. Such an incredible background to be a state attorney in New York State. And I mean, that's an incredibly challenging job, and particularly in the court system of New York, which is always quite a frenzy. I mean, that's just remarkable.
Well, the great thing is I'm not an attorney anymore. So what I learned this from being an entrepreneur, a serial entrepreneur, and just understanding that one of the things that we should talk about today is understanding the gaps in the marketplace, understanding what is actually needed that no one else knows about, and exploiting that gap. And so when I went into pitching, that's why I'm the killer pitch master. There are a lot of people who can hear a great pitch. It's very few that can create it for themselves and for others, and then have success media, investor, sales, speaking, and interview pitches, which means that colleges and universities hire me and my clients. That means that top Fortune 500 clients hire me. That means organizations hire me to train their sales teams, to speak to different audiences about when you know how to communicate your value and yourself.
And I think that's a great point, because a lot of people these days, they talk about pitching and they think, oh, pitching is your 30 seconds or your 1 minute in the elevator and you're talking about the business. But the truth is, if you're not selling yourself, then you're not going to get anywhere. Whether that's to the love of your life, which in my case, obviously, I must have pitched well, because although she's not here today, or she's in the room with us in her spirit. But it's so important to be able to sell yourself.
It really is. And I think, we can always talk about other people, but honestly, a pitch is more than just what you say. There's some people who don't understand that social media posts are pitches. They don't understand that you can create a whole noise and buzz for yourself, making yourself the only choice that matters. And so it's not about saying, buy my stuff. If you're the go-to expert, you should be able to demonstrate that. If you have a unique way of looking at an industry, if you have a unique way of looking at something that people accept as true, but you're coming with a fresh way of looking at it, people are going to listen to you, because they're like, oh, you're seeing, you have a vision. And so I am a full figure diva, plus size fashionista. I am Black on both sides, no Brazilian butt lift, no 6-pack abs. Because as a 44-year-old woman, we're told we don't matter. Like we're put out to dust. We don't have anything to contribute because we're not young. And what I'm saying is, baby, I done played this game a lot of times. Sometimes with youth, they don't have the experience to understand what's actually happening. And women and men of a certain age need to understand they still have value in the marketplace, and we can run heads and tails around others who don't know the game yet.
Absolutely. You know, one of the most frustrating things I ever did. So I'm going to tell you some of my experiences, which would
Come
not
on,
be
drop it like
Beata's
it's hot.
experience, but great one. We were doing digital transformation in the 1990s, and I was in an investment bank, and I had a bunch of guys. They were market makers, so their job is to make a price. You come in and you say, "I want to buy, JP Morgan shares," and their job is to say it's $1.50 at $1.70 or whatever that price is, and that's their job all day long. They make a price like that, and they make a little bit of money out of the spread. And it was so funny because they said, right, these markets are all going electronic, so I want you to teach these guys how to go electronic. And the management every week, the cadre of people I had kept shrinking. And it was because the management kept firing the older people. And it drove me insane because they said, no, because these guys just don't get it. And I mean, honestly, they were picking up the mouse on the computer and trying to talk into it to add their orders and stuff. They just didn't get the technology. But they had 25 years, 30 years, 35 years of understanding how it worked. All they needed to understand was they had to live life around this stupid screen thing that we all spend our lives around these days. Once they got there, they were going to be awesome. So I'm with you. And I must say, you hit on a really great thing. I love the dress, Precious. It is
come on now. I got to come colorful. This is a picture of it.
You've got to. I mean, I only
had
2 minutes. I only have 2 minutes to throw something on, and I'm glad at least I got a bit of color, but I can't possibly match you. Can't possibly match you there. So, no, but you're right. And I think one of the most disgusting things I heard recently, I'm not trying to get into politics, but to hear a television presenter write off a 50-year-old woman who wants to stand to be president of the United States of America as past your prime. First of all, it's completely false. Second of all, that woman is stunning, intelligent, brilliant, and incredible. And I'm not trying to say I'm voting for her. Just as a woman, you cannot possibly look at that woman and say, wow, you're awesome. You're something. You might choose to vote for her. You might not. That's entirely your choice as an elector. But to say that when we got a bunch of 80-year-old guys who are bickering like those two old guys in the theater box office in the Muppets all the time, I mean, come on. So talent, pitching. Talk to me about it. There's one thing you've hit on, and I really want to talk about that before we get into the pitching per se. You talk about the gap. And I think this is really interesting because isn't this world, like the more the world expands, my view is the more the world looks like Emmental, like Swiss cheese. There are holes in it for entrepreneurs everywhere.
Yes. And so when it comes to the gap, so when I started, listen, no one wanted to invest in my first company. Curvy Girls Lingerie, they were like, oh, nobody cares about fat women. Okay, well, no one cares about plus size women or fat women, but what about full figure divas and plus size? What about the over 40 million women size 14 or larger in the United States, just like me, and we all want pretty underwear? But the gap was they didn't think it existed. They didn't know how many women were out there. They didn't know that not every plus size woman looks the same. And even if she did, if it's not even being offered to her, how would you know? And because I was dating a very famous Hollywood actor at the time, it inspired me. I didn't want to wear black and beige and white. I want to wear blue. I want to wear gold. I want to wear green. I want to be flexing up in these streets. And so what I had to learn is before I could pitch that, I had to be that. I had to be the ultimate representation of what a full figure diva and a plus size fashionista is. Then didn't want to invest in my company because they're like, you're already an attorney. That was safe. I'm so glad I had the vision to say nothing is safe. Nothing. No profession is safe. But I found out through creativity. I pitched on the spot to the producers of a major television network, and they loved my pitch that I made up on the spot. And that got me on national television, where I pitched and won $500,000 in 54 seconds. So think about the people that said it was impossible for a too fat, too black, non-Ivy League degree having woman who had a law degree. And here I did it on television. So number one, my family and friends were not my target market. They had never seen it done. Number two, I had to speak to the market in a different medium, which was, and I did it at 327 pounds. The third thing is when people said all the disparaging things about me, I took every brick and built my empire with it. The next thing I know, I'm on Shark Tank. The next thing I know, we're having we're doing a nationwide tour. We're building out our direct home party sales model. The things that they said were impossible were not impossible to the person doing it. And so when I tell you, when they said it couldn't be done by someone who looked like me, and then to win 13 out of 14 national pitch championships against the Harvard, Yale, Stanford, Columbia, cool tech companies, I did it. And then started Perfect Pitches by Precious, because I wanted people to truly understand that while you think my perceived flaws, age, race, class, sex, all those kind of things, all the isms, those were the very things that they could not understand. So they never saw me coming.
They never saw you coming. And that actually is the best way to attack the Ivy League ever, because they've never seen anything. And what I find incredible is two things about the United States of America: greatest economy we've ever seen, but it seems to spend far too much time busy trying to create elites, which usually then get torn down after a period of time. And I would have to say, I think Ivy League education is one of those right now, because everybody's supposed to look up and go, oh my goodness, they're incredible. And what did they give us last year? They gave us Sam Bankman-Fried and FTX. I mean, it just beggars belief when you look at their sheer inability to do stuff. The only thing I'm going to contradict you on is, you told me something about, you said, you tell me about your negatives, and it's this, and it's my race. Well, I don't see that as negative. I see that as your total positive, because you're giving me energy.
Flawed. I said perceived.
Perceived.
They're not flawed.
No, perceived, because you are not flawed. Absolutely
no,
not.
No,
but it's,
no.
But it's
those
also
isms get into all of our minds.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, I'm too this. I'm like, listen, I'm never gonna count myself out. And when I'm working with my clients, I started off working with women of a certain age who wanted to win pitch competitions. And they were like, oh, I'm too old. I don't look like this. Baby, listen, those are perceived flaws. You got to captivate, titillate, elevate, and radiate. So every time you see me, my confidence is going to outshine everybody's, because I've been told all my life I'm not going to make it. And yet I'm still here. What does that tell you?
Absolutely. No, but that's it. But
so that perceived flaw is really a secret weapon.
Everything.
No one studies what we do.
Totally.
African Americans, it's like, oh, well, you can do it in sports and entertainment, which are great. Mm-hmm. But why can't we do it in business too?
Well, I just find, that's a weird thing, because from the outside, as a British person, I just don't see that. But I know what you mean. When you're in the United States of America, it's like certain people go into certain tiers of things. And we also see this thing with, you go to say Miami, and they spend the whole time talking about the Miami Sound Machine and Gloria Estefan and all of the incredible musicians who are wonderful. And it's kind of like, oh, that's what you do if you're, however you want to describe yourself, from South America, from Cuba, from, if you're calling yourself Latinx or whatever, Hispanic culture. And it's like, well, I would rather look at all those dudes who've actually managed to make the incredible, dynamic, exciting businesses in Miami. And it's got nothing to do with where you come from or what you do, except, I suppose, we're all a product of what we're exposed to. And that really interests me, because you were obviously exposed to this idea of go into the law. It's a great thing. Hey, isn't that what all parents tell their kids, that they want to be middle class? Be a gynecologist or be a lawyer.
I'm sorry. I didn't grow up in the hood. So I'm the first to do it in my family. So it wasn't that I grew up seeing the models. I didn't. It's just amazing. I grew up as a very abused child. And I used to watch, for some reason, I don't know why we had cable way back when, but I remember watching Biography, 20th Century, American Justice, Intimate Portrait. And I remember specifically watching the biography of Aristotle Onassis. He comes from the Greek Isle of Scorpios. Yeah. And I said to myself, when I make it big, not if, when I make it for me and my girls, and we go into the Greek Isle of Scorpios, and we're going to show them this is what is possible, and we did it. And when I went to college on a full scholarship, I was told by my guidance counselors, there's no way I was the smartest of the dumb in St. Louis. And there's no way I can get into Spelman College. Well, you know what? Did that. No way I can get into Georgetown University Law Center, any of these top law schools. I did it full ride. Now what? So it's just a constant. I'm pushing against that. Today, I'm not worried about what other people say. I'm really not. I'm not proving them wrong. I'm proving the God in me right. And that I was built for a specific purpose. And maybe it's not corporate America. Maybe it's not having a 9-to-5. Maybe it is showing the world that you can do it your way, like Frank Sinatra, old blue eyes glistening. I got old brown eyes glistening. When I tell you the gap of understanding that people don't think a Black woman could teach and train on this, not only could I teach and train, I created the roadmap, and I've written 5 best-selling books on how I got here, what What is the value of pitching? What is the value of understanding that everything you say and do needs to have a goal attached to it? It needs to have, are you trying to be the go-to expert? Do you want to be seen as the only choice that matters? Do you want clientele and customers that are on repeat? If it's just, I just want to say things just to be saying things, I'm not the trainer for you. But if you really want to have like a massive impact, even if you don't come from the right family, even if you don't come from money, if you didn't have all the connections, I didn't have any of that, and look at where I am today. I'm proud to say that my clients in Microsoft or Federal Reserve Bank, all the things, because when I remember way back when they said I couldn't do it. So my perceived flaws really were my secret weapon. And I'm walked on the red carpet now. Like the doors open. I used to try to be MacGyver and put two toothpicks. And I don't have to because I'm invited in. In fact, before we even got on this, my agent called me and she was like, "Hey, you booked in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Hey, you booked in Vegas. Hey, you got this coming up in Chicago." And I'm thinking, remember when nobody accepted my call? Remember when people dissed me hard and said there's no way? Well, look who's laughed long enough, because there was a gap. And the gap had to be absorbed by someone who could speak lay language and the king. And now being able to go from teaching women how to win pitch competitions to now working with the biggest and best companies in the world, to writing books, best-selling books on the subject, to having a name that when people say pressure, they're like, "Oh, Killer Pitch Master." Yeah. All of that happened by understanding that the gap, and when people couldn't see that that there really was a gap, look at what happened. And so when I wrote my 5th book, imagine the attorneys and sales professionals who never understood the process. I had to become an entrepreneur to understand what I was missing. And so that's why it's important for law schools and business schools, law firms, insurance companies to understand this is the way of teaching and training, because a lot of us didn't get it growing up. And so when you're and not a worker bee, that's the game changer right there.
And I think you hit on the nail on the head in 2 ways, because one is it's the game changer. 2, it's the way that we all become more productive if we can all communicate with each other better and faster and more organizedly. Because let's face it, the alternative to that is we all end up writing our communications with ChatGPT, and I think down that road nightmares lie. I mean, that's the revenge of the boring nerds ultimately. Right. But it's really fascinating. So look, you talked about how you find your niche and those spaces and their holes, and they really, really exist there. And actually, let me just interrupt that narrative by saying thank you so much. We love this comment we got from Akila Tompkins Robinson. Thank you so much for making that. The Muppets, that's a good description. Well, I'm so sorry. I'm just an outsider, but that's how I feel when I see a certain couple of octogenarian gentlemen who seem to be arguing with each other all of the time in American politics. Not a party political point, just simply a reflection of what's going on. Could we at least have an 80-year-old lady in there? That would be fun, just to manage to make something better. But anyway, you're talking about, you find your pitch. You just got to get out there. You got to talk to people. You got to communicate. You started from not having the role models, which I think actually, it's funny. Education, I think education's kind of useful, but funnily enough, the people who've got the role models, they really make the difference. We were looking at some young entrepreneurs here in the Turks and Caicos the other week. Their sales guy came out from this group and he was like a god. He was just stunning. Now, there were half a dozen wonderful ladies we met as well. And this sales guy came out. He was smooth. He could sell you anything. Of course, what is he? He's the son of the local jewelry merchant. This kid probably
he was bred for that.
He basically, if he didn't do a deal, he didn't get to the dinner table when he was 6, right? And I mean, that's something, I'm sure, he knows how to do those deals. So he's meeting 5,000 cruise ship passengers a day or something when he's wheeling and dealing, on behalf of his dad,
he's like, even at 15 or 16. Trust that.
Yeah. Now that's an advantage, which is difficult to inculcate. But if you can pitch, I think you're halfway there. That's why it's so exciting. So I mean, why did you decide to write this 5th book after you've already had 4 bestsellers? What was the space there?
Well, plot twist, flip the script. I'm known for doing that plot twist. The one thing you never want people to think is that they have you pegged, and that's the only thing that you can do. And when I realized that people only thought that I could pitch, they didn't understand I was an international professional speaker. They didn't understand I was a communication skills expert. And they didn't understand how was I getting into these companies, corporations, foundations, and nonprofits, law firms, and business schools and law schools. Like, how is she doing it? It doesn't make sense. I was like, well, you have a narrow view of pitching. The second thing, as I said earlier, is I could have been an even better attorney had I came in with a rainmaker mentality. And it took me being an entrepreneur, serial entrepreneur, and all these other things that I've gone through as a speaker and a trainer to understand that was the missing for a lot of Black people, Latinx, Asian Pacific Islander. We might not have grown up with it, but there is something that we know as we are matriculating through our careers. There's something missing, and it was, this is what we weren't given. It's for women. It's for men who didn't come from a certain background. And I needed them to know, listen, a lot of us don't get there because there's no playbook. There's nobody telling you at the dinner table, this is how it's done. My grandparents, I love them, and they've been deceased 20 years now. They spoke life into me, but they didn't have the frame of reference. What does it take to get all the way to law school or into college? That is something that those shows bred in me, was like, I want to have it like that. I want to break generational curses. But there was still an education I didn't have. And by becoming a rainmaker and doing business development for myself, I realized that's the missing link. Right? That's the missing link. So if you're a sales professional and you're getting these sales trainings, there's still something you're not seeing, because that's focused on the sales part. What about the relationship part? What about making sure that the right people know you? And I don't mean just on LinkedIn. I mean going to events in different industries, because you need allies. You need co-conspirators. As my queen, Corliss Newton Collier, always says, you need your co-conspirators, your allies, your friends, and your network to keep pushing you forward in spaces you've never been. Right? Yep. And so once you start, that is the power of rainmaking. Of course, your income goes up. Of course, you might see other opportunities. And I am blessed, as I was becoming a rainmaker, that there were women and men, kings and queens, who were pulling me in on the red carpet, because they said, you need to be seen. What did that do? It changed the way I dressed. It changed the way I present myself. I don't wear black unless I want to, or if I'm just, bumming around. But when I show up, I have to show out and be colorful and bright. I'm not boring, bland, or average, random, or ordinary. I'm extraordinary. And that starts when you see my presence, when you feel me before I walk through that door. So now all eyes on you, like Tupac. Now go ham and cheese and peanut butter and jelly on them. Mm-hmm. That was what it was.
Well, we've got feedback here from Jane, and I think it sums this show up perfectly so far. Hello, Patrick and Precious. I love how the energy right now is off the charts.
That energy, that big P energy.
It is. It's all these P's together. We got Patrick and Precious, the pitch queen. We are talking to the pitch queen today. But you raise a great point, because if you don't have that background, it can be incredibly difficult to know how to be so engaged. And in fact, one of my heroes, my bestie, his name, you're going to find this difficult to remember, Precious, is Patrick Young. Now, Patrick Young, I think it's seriously easy to say we had a couple of standard deviations of difference between our lives. And he's now the New Orleans director of gun violence. But at one point in time, and I did the live stream with him, he went down on 3 strikes and you're out. He was gone. He was gone to incarceration for the rest of his life. And he's awesome. And he wrote a best-selling book. And I found out about him because he does an initiative about sharp-dressed men. He gets men to dress in suits. And he says, you know what, guys? You want a job.
Sharp-dressed man.
You want a job. You turn up sharp-dressed. You're already 75% better off, if not 5 times better off than everybody else. And I think it's true. And I just love what you're talking about here. So how do you find the... how do you find the energy to keep going? I mean, tell us honestly. There must be some moments when Precious has fought her way from, through just being this myriad of firsts. I mean, seriously, you are awesome. But I bet there are some days when you got to sit back and think, yeah, things might be better?
I'm known for my energy,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm going to tell you, my homeless experience from 2017 to 2018, after losing the love of my life, I was so ashamed to be me. I was so ashamed that I was an alcoholic. I was so ashamed of all of those things that I truly let it color how I saw myself. And when people, disrespected me to my face and to others, I really felt like it was over. I look at myself today and I realize I had to lose everything to win again. I had to lose it all possessions, everything. And that's why I can speak from a space of having truly been there, having had dirt thrown on my name, as Cardi B says. There are times that I do get tired. I'm not gonna lie to you. Last week was a gauntlet for me. I was at my law school's banquet, and then I flew to Atlanta to do a training for Ernst and Young. Flew back to be at the Association of Black Women Attorneys brunch, and through it all, I loved every moment. Do you want to know why?
Mm-hmm. I do.
Because every space I walked in, I was welcomed. Because that didn't happen years ago. My name carries weight. And it wasn't done the way people thought it was. It was done with creativity and understanding that gap. Understanding that if I'm not going to be a practicing attorney, what else is there for me? And when I understood that pitching was it, that was it. This past Monday, I've been dealing with a sore finger. Didn't realize it was infected. This past Monday, I was in a doctor's office because it was so unbearable. So that's why I wasn't sleeping. A lot of this was a gauntlet for me. I'm sitting there. And finally the doctor, sees me, tells it's infected, I have antibiotics. And I thought about, I could sit at the doctor's office all day on a Monday because I don't have a 9 to 5 that's going to hold me to a place. My friends were calling, texting, Queen, where you at? You need. That didn't happen years ago. Success changes how people see you. And as I sat there with no internet, because I realized that yesterday was the 23rd anniversary of my grandmother's passing, Precious Dolores Williams, the greatest to have ever done it. The woman who inspired me, the woman who inspires me today, who told me I was her golden child when I was abused by my mother and left and abandoned by my father. That's the woman who kept saying, you the great, you the GOAT, Oprah's going to know your name. And that's the same day my 5th book went #1. I do have times when I'm tired. But I got to tell you, when I'm in front of people, I remember when nobody called me. I remember when those emails were not responded to. Putting myself out there and nobody wanted to know my name until I made them. How did I do it? Packaging, positioning, and pitching myself. And really becoming the only choice that matters. So even if I'm tired right now, like my finger is still infected, but I got the antibiotics in it. It's a little painful. But let me tell you something. When you're blessed with an opportunity like this to speak to a different audience who may not know your name or not know you, or they didn't know your name, I want you to see that I'm human just like everybody else. I cry like everybody else. I went through some hard times like everybody else. I've had times when, I had to eat out of a garbage can because I was homeless. I've had times where I felt like I didn't have friends because I didn't let them know what I was going through. Today, that is not my thing. If I'm going through it, I'm letting the right people who gonna stay on me. And I haven't tasted liquor in over 6 years. And I plan on keeping it that way. I don't see myself as an addict. I am an overcomer and a thriver. And it's because I believed in me when nobody else did. And that's why it's important for me to share with you all. There are horror stories in my background. But today, my life is not a horror story. It's a happy ending.
Precious. That's just awesome. The one thing I want to say, though, is we want that happy ending to carry on for a big, 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 long third reel. And we want to see that continue for decades to come because you have got so much energy and so much to give us. And I mean, tell me, You've told us a lot already, but what advice would you give to females to help their career or start their entrepreneurial journey?
Number one, my advice for women starting their journeys or building it is fortune favors the bold. I want you to go boldly, boldly in the pursuit of your dreams. Number two, pay attention to who's around you. If everyone around you is at a certain level and they were at that certain level last year and the year before that, and you're the bright light, get a better circle. When I started hanging with people that I long admired, when I was able to showcase my brilliance, and they never saw it in anyone else, that was the push forward. Because people around you, they're so used to you being around. But when they see you with other people, it's like, oh, I'm like, yeah, you slept on my, and I slept on it too because it was with the wrong people. Number three, give back. I was a student at the Bowery Mission Women's Center for 2 years when I was homeless. Do you know my very first speaking engagement was at Bottomless Closet? Who introduced me to Viacom? Who introduced me to all the things that you see me doing today? So give back. I give back to Bowery Mission, Bottomless Closet, Dress for Success, Inroads, Junior Achievement, Savvy Ladies, all of these organizations. They can be blessed by what we do through donations and also putting in your time and your resources. I'm telling you, it makes a difference. There's no way that I was homeless less than 5 years ago and where I am today. It shocks and awes the world. It doesn't shock God.
It's incredible. It's just amazing. Okay, so fantastic advice. Absolutely love it. Giving back, doing everything. And I love that idea of when you're the brightest light in your circle, get a better circle. You know, increase the wattage as much as you possibly can. So what would you say, though? I mean, we're talking about
And promote
pitching.
ruthlessly, promote ruthlessly.
Ruthlessly. And so
Ruthlessly.
ruthless promotion. What would you say are the top 5 soft skills that career-driven ladies should have?
The 5 soft skills. Number 1, the ability to speak.
Yep.
The ability to speak. Number 2, the ability to write. Number 3, the ability to just converse with anyone because you're curious. Number 4 is actually being curious. Like, keep people assume are just the way we've always done. That's how you'll find your gap. And number 5, say yes to a lot of things in the beginning. Say yes. Because by you saying yes in the beginning, you'll eventually figure out what you're going to say no to later. I promise you. If you're saying no from the very beginning to things you don't know who's watching, who will bless your life, you'll also start to realize who's real and who's not in this business game, in the IT game. Oh, you'll start to notice. And you won't be that person. So in the beginning, you say yes to a lot of opportunities. It might feel like you're burning the midnight oil. You're getting better because you have experience. But staying curious, making sure so being able to converse with the janitor all the way up and be able to speak. And this is for my introverts. It's not like you have to have my personality. No, but being able to speak, inquiring about people. When you learn more about other people, they'll be quick to learn about you. Mm-hmm.
I think you hit that nail on the head. And I think the other thing that's really, really important there is talk to everyone. Because
yes,
some of the best information you will get are from the people who a certain cadre of people might not even think of talking to.
Yes, it makes a difference. I was at the Association of Black Women Attorneys brunch that was in Chelsea Piers in New York.
Right.
And there was a woman who was coming in to clean up the bathroom. And I just struck up a conversation. And she looking at me like, are you talking to me? I said, yeah, I'm talking to you. And we just got to talking. She said, I never think people would talk to me. I said, Queen, you keeping it clean in here while I'm trying to get my life right. Come on now. And by the time it was over, she came out and she wanted to know what my name was. And she was honored. She said, I looked you up. I had my mama look you up. I said, because you're important. And that's why you stay curious.
Yep. Absolutely.
Staying curious is someone who's like, oh, you know what? I can do a little bit. I can do some things. This queen had multiple jobs and was talking to me. And I'm looking at her like, you are just as worthy. Come on.
Yeah. No, it's absolutely true. I mean, you're absolutely. So, I mean, you talk about talking to people. Is there a particular person who you really identify? You mentioned your grandmother that helped you along your journey, who you're particularly grateful for how you got here today.
My grandmother, Precious Dolores Williams, my grandfather, Raymond Woodrow Williams. I am thankful to Mary Elizabeth Grimes out of St. Louis. He's over an entire school. I'm thankful to Barbara Washington, who was with the Matthew Dickey's Boys and Girls Club. And, I was honored with the Sky's the Limit Scholarship way back when. I'm thankful to all my queens of Spelman College, my sorors. I am thankful for the queens I have in my life today. I am. I didn't expect to get emotional, but I'm incredibly grateful that in my 40s, my purpose became so clear. And it was clear why I went through all I went through. And when we're going through, we're mad, we want to curse God. Oh, no. Sometimes you got to lose it all to win again. You got to lose all the dead weight to really shine and to become weightless and to know the sky's the limit. So every time a sister from other misters, you can be sisters from all other misters, a brother from all other mothers, I hope that I am inspirational, but not just inspirational. Let's start taking action. You think you're too old for your dream. I'm here to tell you, you ain't. You ain't. We read people in the Bible that were doing things that like at old age. What makes you think it can't happen?
Absolutely. I mean, look at Grandma Moses. I mean, you've got another 20 years to go before you even reach the age of Grandma Moses, which was when she picked up a paintbrush. And look at where she managed to go in the course of just a matter of years. So it's never too late. And it's always a possibility to use your experience to get somewhere and do so much.
Most definitely. Most definitely. I also want to thank Lee Hayes, my agent. I will never forget that it was a sister from another mister who introduced us. And I laugh when I think about it. She wasn't taking no clients, but then she looked me up and said, "Oh, okay. She ain't the average. She out here. She gonna get hired without me. This girl is serious in these streets." And I love that because sometimes people don't know how to take you in the beginning, and then so yeah, I don't have to flex every time I open my mouth. I don't. But people will look me up because they're just like curious. Who is this? Who is this loud chick? And she cute too. Okay.
Well, I think energy makes you cute. I mean, I think that's the biggest thing of all. I think that's the most attractive thing that anybody can have. When you've got the energy and the positivity,
Oh
it
shoot!
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you only have one limb and nothing else to talk about. You are
Patrick,
attractive.
Patrick, you're right. I'll be telling these men and women, I'm a whole snack. Come fetch me. Shout out to Cupcake the rapper. I'm a whole snack. Come fetch me. And they
So, so you're through. I mean, you've got this fifth best-selling book as of today. We're so honored to be the first people to talk to you in public after this. That is marvelous news. Are you working on any new exciting projects right now?
You know what? I actually am. So later on today, I'm going to speak at eWomen Network Central Hartford chapter. So yeah, I'm going to Connecticut today. Yeah, hey.
Hooray!
And I'm teaching on getting media attention now, being bold, standing out, but also sharing my books. I fly to NABO, Chicago, National Association of Women Business Owners, Chicago. I'll be there next week as a keynote speaker for the 40th annual celebration of awards. In May 18th, I will be speaking at the Power of Persuasion event in Milwaukee, Wisconsin with the Young Guns movement. Shout out to David and Andy and also Pat Miller. And then on May 19th, I'm back here in New York speaking at the Go Big Summit on millionwomen.com. Okay. And then I'll be off in San Francisco with the Ascent Summit with SaaS leaders and $20 million and higher up businesses. And so I am blessed. June, I'm gonna be in Canada. You know what I'm saying? And we're gonna be speaking at a tech conference, and I'm keynoting. Did y'all see I'm black on both sides? No Brazilian butt lift, no six pack abs. Did y'all see that it's not entertainment is how I'm getting here. I'm getting here by being a speaker and a trainer. And I love what I do. And also,
Fascinating.
Making 101, we have a training program. So the first thing was to get the book out so people could taste it and test it. Now it has a whole program for law firms, law schools, business schools. So get at me. I promise you, the book is just the beginning to where I'm really taking this. And so shout out to all of those who supported me, Lisa Zeiderman, Esquire, Tony Moore, Esquire, Sharon Monet, Penn Legacy, and to also all of the organizations that have booked me, hired me, referred me, Andrew Frage. Like we got men up in who've been supporting, kings up in who've been supporting me, kings.
Quite incredible. All of those people that are supporting you, and it's fantastic. And I'm reminded at this point in time that usually Bata would ask, well, she'll use this quotation by Eleanor Roosevelt. It's wonderful. Women are like tea bags. We
Woo!
don't know our true strength until we're in hot
Hot
water. In life. I don't want to ask how you are in hot water so much, but I love the question, how are you brewing, Precious?
How am I brewing? Since I love tea, y'all know about that true tea. I'm mild today. I'm very, very mild and in good space. Good space. I feel like I'm talking to a good friend of mine and we sipping on tea, be like, oh, did you hear about that? Let me give you some of that true tea. That's what this felt like. So I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. We got that piping tea for the peeps. But also, we're just laughing and joking because this is a real conversation. And sometimes I think with podcasts, it could be so people ask the same questions, and I'm glad that you didn't. This is where people get to see I'm a real human, not a robot. I don't have to say all the same thing. I don't. I'm very versatile, skills expert, and that's why I'm booked, busy, and paid on the daily. Thanks.
That's fantastic that you're booked, busy, and paid. And I have to say, part of the slightly random effort of what went on today was these two puppies. This is Rose. She's beautiful, and she's just woken. She's just woken up, and she was just
she heard my voice. She said,
yeah,
Who that is?
Who is that woman inspiring me? She wanted to come and see, and we've got a fantastic atmosphere today because I came here to do this. Obviously,
the dog was just like, I'm just gonna sit here and listen to my daddy.
She's
I'm gonna
just
listen to
so
my daddy.
gorgeous.
He went talking. I'm going in.
Yeah. I love the thing I love about dogs are that the one great thing is when I sit here and opine, they always look at me lovingly and totally engaged. They're the best audience. They're just like totally like that.
Hey, Dad, you got something to say? Because I'm listening.
I know, absolutely. And we got a couple of comments as well. I'm not surprised, Precious. Marianne Madeira. Hello, Patrick and Precious. Thank you so much for this wonderful live stream. You're very relatable, Precious. Lots of love hearts there and amazing. Totally agree. You are amazing, Precious. And it's so inspiring to have you here. And I must say, I'm overjoyed. I'm feeling sorry for Bata that she couldn't make it today, but I'm really having the best day. I mean, the best impromptu hour. The cat is attacking the other puppy. This puppy's sleeping on my lap, and it's like chaos around here if I suddenly disappear from view because they've chewed through the cables. Hey, Precious. No, hi, Precious. Keep inspiring people, says In Love and in Pain. She's delighted to see you today. Hey, In Love and in Pain, it's lovely to see you too. I know you're a regular viewer, girl, and it's so nice to see you on the show once again. Thank you to Marianne Madeira, and Jane is saying such a cute puppy. Yeah, I think that's very difficult.
Just said, I'm just bouncing up in here. I'm just gonna flex. The puppy flexed. It was like,
it's just great.
The puppy, I ain't got to say nothing. You know, you want me. I'm like, yeah, I do.
We just actually were recording video about an hour ago, and the puppy was like, okay, I'm the talent, I'm too tired now, and it's just going to collapse to sleep for now.
I gotta have boundaries, Dad.
Absolutely.
Respect my boundaries.
Respect my boundaries. She went back off to her trailer and has just emerged from her sleep. But anyway, so you're brewing really, really well, and that's really fantastic, Dad. So tell me, what do you think is the best advice you ever received, Precious?
We used to have a basketball coach at Beaumont High School. I think he was Coach Hightower. Said, shoot for the moon. And if you don't make it, you'll just fall among the stars. So you know what that means. Keep going. Just keep going. Keep going. You know, even if you don't hit the target you think, you might go higher, but you'll fall among the stars because the stars always twinkle and shine. They're not worried about, is this star shining too bright? They're like, I'm over here flexing. I'm flexing over here. So I want to fall among the stars. And I got the most beautiful thing that happened yesterday. So I was talking with my friend Christine, and I saw this thing go up about my college, and they were looking for, the 20 most illustrious graduates, and a queen that I'm not going to name her, but she put my name up there, and I just started crying when I was on the phone. I don't see myself like that, right? I'm great. And I was looking at the other women, and I was like, you know what? That is me. I'm there. But it was that moment of there's another woman talking my name among these greats. And I have to accept, yes, I know I'm a celebrity in my own brain. Yes, I think I'm hella dope. But when it came to seeing another woman put me out there and say, she should be one of the 20. Are you serious? Along with Stacey Abrams, Keisha Knight Pulliam, like all these dope women. And my name is just out there. Like, yeah, consider her too. Wow.
It's fantastic, isn't it? It's just like the best thing, what I call guilt by association marketing, because you're up there with those rock star names that are worldwide famous, and you suddenly think, oh, hold on a second, that seemed quite justified. Actually, yeah, I've got a reason to be there. And that's the really, really fantastic moment when your friends acknowledge it. Because let's face it, your friends and your peer group, they're the people who are going to do the best marketing of you after your great pitch. They're going to be the people that really make that
queen I
ripple.
looked up to. I thought she was the most Spellman woman I've ever met. And I was like, and she says my name out of her mouth.
I think it's fantastic. No, that's absolutely superb altogether. So what about the bucket list then? I mean, you've achieved so much, you're going so many places. Have you got, I don't know, 3 items on the bucket list that are looking really exciting?
I'd love to host my own talk show. Come on now, let's keep it a bean. Let's keep it a bean. Let's keep it a buck. Yes, I'd love to host my own talk show.
I'd like to watch that.
Listen, we're gonna act up. And then and people always say that, like, when I'm on camera, they're like, you really listen, I've been preparing this since I was 5 years old. If you want to know why I take pictures the way I do, because I when my mother used to say that my sister was so much prettier and she'll be a model, I was in the back like this. Well, shoot, let me get myself together because it may be me. It's gonna be me. Number 2, I would love for Perfect Pitches by Precious, which is turning into the Perfect Pitch Group, to be the #1 speech communications company in the world. And number 3, I want to become a legend among legends. And I remember watching The Undertaker years ago, watching the WWE back before that WWF, and they called him the legend among legends. Oh, I like that. I want to be a legend among legends. I look at the Oprahs, the Tyler Perrys, the LeBrons, Janice Bryan Howroyd. I think of the founders of Black Enterprise. I think of the founders of BET. Like, I am just sitting up here saying to myself, I want to be a legend among legends. Can be considered at their level, along with the Mark Zuckerberg, the Elon Musk, the Jeff Bezos. I want to be a legend among legends, and I did that in business. And I took every bad thing that could have happened, and I still made it using creativity. If I didn't have the money, I ain't had the friends, I ain't had the relationships. Creatively get your way out of that, and that's what I did. And I want others. Sometimes it's not money. Sometimes it's outwit, outplayed, outlast, like Survivor. Outwit, outplayed, outlast. They can't see you coming, so go ham and cheese and peanut butter and jelly on them.
And that's why Temple Robinson is saying great advice, because that
Thank
is
you,
true.
Temple.
This is a great show
Thank you,
altogether. We got one puppy on the floor is refusing to engage with me, and one puppy here.
Oh, he said boundaries, Dad. Boundaries.
Yeah, no, he's boundaries. Actually, what they're scared of is the cat is sitting beside me now, and the cat is flapping at them every time they try to go past. So it's pretty crazy. So tell me this. Give us. I mean, you've had 5 bestsellers, #1 bestsellers, just awesome. What's a great book you can sit and think, oh, I wish I'd read that before I started my career?
Ultimate Sales Machine by Chet Holmes. I think that's the Ultimate Sales Machine. That have you like.
That's a great book.
Of course, we all love the How to Win Friends and Influence People and stuff like that. Think and Grow Rich. But I got to give it up for Dr. Dennis Kimbrough, who is a professor in business at Clark Atlanta. He wrote Think and Grow Rich, a Black choice. What? Certified in these streets. Come through. Speak Black Woman by my queen and friend Quinn Conyers, Brian Olds. Oh, gee, there's so many great books out there that I have read. Um, Never Split the Difference, Profit First.
You know what I suggest, Precious? I think we're going to have to interrupt that list. And what's going to happen is there's going to need to be a rematch of this discussion with my
Ooh.
brilliant wife. And hopefully she's going to do it in New York when you're both there, because you have so much to say that we want to hear. And I hope it'll be before you even manage to get your 6th best-selling book out
Oh,
there.
you know what?
But you know, she's going to have to be fast. Now tell us, what's your favorite life lesson quote?
Again, fortune favors the bold. Years ago, it was go big or go home. What? Go big or go home. Now it's fortune favors the bold.
Fortune favors the bold. Yeah,
so
I
I'm about
agree.
to flex on them. I'm about to flex on them.
I agree. I think that's just the message. And you know, we reach at this point in time where unfortunately I'm going to have to ask the final big question that that Bata would always ask. So you've got the option. I mean, originally we started this show during the pandemic, but nowadays the pandemic's over. But we've got the option to go anywhere in the world for breakfast with anybody. Who would you like to go to breakfast with, and where?
The people I'd love to go with are deceased, but if I could,
that's okay. Mm-hmm.
I would love to anywhere near water. So I was just saying San Diego, speaking of EO San Diego, we were at the Catamaran and overlooking the water and just looking out and saying, I want to say to my grandmother, I love you. I want to say, people know your name today. That's how you know you're a legend among legends. You got kids still trying to dance like you and don't know you're dead. You know, you brought excellence to singing and dancing and being a true performer. My grandfather, Raymond Woodrow Williams, the bankroller of the operation. And you know, got to throw in Beyonce too, because I'd be like, Beyonce. I'm like, you ain't got to sing and dance, baby. I'll even babysit Blue Ivy and the kids, and I don't even babysit. But I want to spend time with the two that saw something in me when no one else did. And I want to spend time with Michael Jackson, Beyonce. You know, we got the Oprah in there too. But the founder of Black Enterprise magazine. In fact, I won their competition 10 years ago, the Black Enterprise National Pitch Competition on May 16th, 2013. I just want to say thank you to each and every one of them. And I hope that I'm the best in the world at pitching and be considered on their level when I'm gone.
Wow. Wow. That is it. And I mean, I've got to say, Coco Chanel famously remarked, in order to be irreplaceable, one must be different. And I got to say, Precious, you are absolutely irreplaceable as far as I can see. You are quite incredible. We've got a different puppy on our lap now, as you can see. And
cute too,
you know,
cute too.
Oh, absolutely. All puppies are cute. That's one of the few laws of physics I ever managed to learn in science. This is Arrow. Arrow's going to be up for adoption quite soon as well. You know, they say it's better to be a lion for a day than a sheep all your life, Elizabeth Kenny said. But I got to tell you, I think you're a lion for life, Precious. From what I can see, it isn't going to stop. And I've got to say, this has been the most incredible hour, because I was supposed to be sitting watching this and stroking puppies and making sure that everything went fine. Instead, I have been creating the perfect pitch with the pitch queen on behalf of my wife, Beata, on behalf of a woman on IT. Ladies, thank you so much for putting up with me. Thank you so much, Precious. Thank you to Akila Tompkins Robinson, Jane, Marianne Madeira, In Love and in Pain, Temple Robinson, Sarah Jane Walmsley, for all of your comments during the course of the show. Next week, we're going to be back with Bata, how the metaverse is revolutionizing mental health. And at this juncture, all I can say is, my name is Patrick L. Young, and I am so proud of my wife. And I'm delighted that this has been such